Here's what's happening at Utopia Farms today.
You'll never come to our farm and you'll find an empty manger. You go to a sheep show, your sheep has got to be in prime shape, like really good. If stuck in there, I'm going to be really ticked off. Get out.
At lambing time, so much can go wrong. Things inevitably do go wrong, but it should never be commonplace. So let's get started.
So just doing some chores today. Not a very busy day. I just, the rams are allowed to come out on this platform right here. You might see it. And they got a drinker over there. And they got salt and mineral over there. And the rams always have a free choice of nice dry hay. This is actually pretty nice hay, just first cut hay. But it's just grass hay, smells nice, no mold in it, nothing. They can come out here and eat when they want. And I just bedded up this whole barn here with bedding for the rams. And I took the other half of the roll of bedding from the other side. We got a bunch of pregnant ewes over there yet. They just got fed hay. And shortly, I guess, we're going to trim some of these rams. So Lynn might be here, and I'll show you how to flip. Whoop, can you see him there? How to flip a 300-pound ram and trim your feet without a chute. There's a little trick to it, but I'll just show you here. To turn this camera around. So we're gonna see that ram there. Yeah, I cut every other bar out because the rams are getting their heads stuck in that manger, and that little ram there is halfway through the bar already. Anyways, yeah, I can never flip Ferdinand. Totally can't flip him at all. He's going to be brought down a different way, but Lynn will be with us, and then we'll show you how we bring him down. But if you look at Glad here, here's Glad here at the end. So if you look at Glad's neck, Glad's got a fantastic shoulder and neck on him. Glad is totally impossible to flip him with curling his head back. He'll stiffen out his neck, and he won't move. He's way too sturdy to flip him. But we're going to show you how we're going to trim him because we have quite a few people right now have called for rams. I don't know why. It's not really a breeding season, but some of these people are breeding out of season. So I want to get these rams trimmed up that they look their best when the people come, and they definitely are due for a trimming. So that's what we're going to do today. Let's just see if this ram wants to get out of here. Back up. So that little ewe right there, laying down here behind there, is going to have a lamb probably tonight. If you know your sheep and you're not too busy, you can actually pick it out ahead of time. You get pretty good at it. She's going to have a lamb. She's a Dorset, I think. She got a tattoo, Dorset. Anyways, just going to talk about something else that we do on our farm. You'll never come to our farm and you'll find an empty manger. It's just never going to happen. We never have an empty manger. They always have free choice on hay. Now this is quite high quality hay. This is a second cut alfalfa grasses mix. Second cut is probably running around 70% alfalfa, 30% grasses. Hey, get back there. Come on, get back. Don't do that. Really. So these sheep are never out of feed. And the reason why I do that, I'd rather have a sheep a little over conditioned than under conditioned, especially if you're going to have lambs. So the reason why we always have the mangers full is when I was in the dairy cows, it's extremely important to be on a feed program. Because to get the max amount of milk out of a dairy cow, it's really fine-tuning it. And I had some of my production in Canada. Well, I was in the top 10% of production in Canada when we were milking cows. I was actually probably milking them too hard. But I had cows that weren't given 100 pounds a day. Come on, get back. Were probably going to be called cows that are going to go to other barns. So 100-pound cows in this barn was quite common. And I used to get the nutritionist in, and I remember when I got my first TMR system, and the guy came in, and we're talking, and I had good communications, because they do have a lot of information. So if you want the information, you just got to listen. And it was about 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and he walks into the barn, and he says, "When are you going to feed the cows, Arnie?" I said, "I fed them this morning." I said, "At 4:30, we're going to feed them again, 2 times a day." He says, "So it's 2 o'clock." So he says, "The next 2.5 hours, they have nothing to eat." I said, "Well, no, because it's not time yet." I said, "They get their meal at 4:30. And he said to me, "That's called empty manger syndrome." And he says, "I want to never see that manger without food in it, Arnie. Never see without food." And I'm a true believer. If you got some trouble in your sheep or in your cattle, and those mangers are empty, there's probably a reason for it. Start feeding these animals. We never, never, never have an empty manger on these animals. And I just wanted to say that. And there's another thing we do too, I want to talk about. I hear a lot of talk when people talk to me, and they say that my sheep are too fat. There's a fine line in talking about too fat and good shape. And everybody has a different opinion on that because, everybody is different and people look at situations differently. But there's two different things. There's a fat sheep and there's a sheep in good shape. When I have pregnant sheep or lambs that are growing up, first-time lambs, I would rather have them in good shape than trying to catch up and trying to get them in good shape. So some people have come up to me and said they don't grain their ewe lambs for new ewe lambs. Well, we don't do that. We'll probably feed those ewe lambs probably for 7 to 8 months. They'll get grain, pretty good grain, because they're growing. They're producing bone. They're growing a frame. They're growing the whole structure. I do not want them to be in a situation where they have to catch up. So they're grain fed for probably 7, 8 months. After that, they're only gave grain on their body score. So if the hay is not the best hay, they get a little grain. If they have fantastic hay, they'll probably get next to nothing of grain. But they'll always probably get a little grain for the first year. Now, some people have said to me that we never give our lambs grain because they don't have babies. I said, yeah, but they have to grow. So it's something to think about. Because people say, if you give grain to ewe lambs, they will have their first lamb with no milk. Knock on wood, I have never seen a first-time ewe with no milk. But I know 3 of them that I have seen with no milk. We bought 3 ewes off the Classic, the sheep show, and all 3 of those ewe lambs had no milk when they had a lamb at the first time. And I think we kept 1 or 2 for the second year, and they still had no milk, and we called them. And I can pretty well tell you what happened there. So they have a ewe lamb, and it's a year old, and they want to go to the show. So in order to go to a sheep show, your sheep has got to be in prime shape, like really good. Most of them are probably overfed, okay? And that's what they do. They take a yearling ewe, they overfeed it till it's fat, and then it's not going to produce milk. So I'm just saying you should be feeding your ewe lambs but you really should feed them accordingly on body condition. So the people that say, I never feed my ewe lambs, like I have a neighbor that says that to me, that's his view. I do it differently. I'm thinking a ewe that's growing up as a yearling needs to be fed well because it has to form into a good mother. That ram is really starting to irritate me now. Buddy, come on. You get stuck in there, I'm going to be really ticked off. Get out. Go on, get out. But that's just something to think about. You come to this farm here, you will not find an empty manger, and I'm going to get on with my work.
Okay, here's the ewe with mastitis. She's still with us. Oh, she just drank all her water. I'm going to get her some more water. Her lambs still stay with her, and I think the lambs staying with the mom actually helps them have the will to survive. We've been treating her every day now for I guess this is 5 days now, with drugs, painkillers, glycol. We've been feeding her, watering her, doing all we can, but when a sheep comes down with mastitis, the prognosis is dire. Unless you catch it super, super early, she's probably not going to make it. But if her lambs stay with her, they can help to milk the poison out of her. And sometimes they will come back. I'm guessing we're probably going to have to put her down because she looks brighter in one way, but yeah, it's not good. So, as you know, I'm sure all of you watch other YouTube videos about sheep farming, and lambing is the time of year when, yes, you have lots of wonderful births and lambs, but it's when you lose the majority of your sheep. It's rare to have losses at any other time of year, except for parasites or entrapment somehow. But at lambing time, so much can go wrong. But I have to say that this year has probably been one of our best years ever for casualties. And I think some people think that we're not showing any bad stuff here, and it couldn't be farther from the truth. We do show everything, and this year we're really proud to say we haven't had much bad stuff to show you. And I think that people watching YouTube who aren't sheep farmers may get the impression from watching some channels that sheep going down, losing lambs, milk fever, mastitis, stillbirths, abortions, deformed lambs, no milk are all commonplace issues that poor farmers have. And by poor farmers, I don't mean money poor, I mean poor farmers. Look at what they have to go through. And we do. When we're lambing, it's tough because farmers are up all night long, all day long, making sure that they can do the best for their sheep so that they all survive, or as much as possible. But yeah, things inevitably do go wrong, but it should never be commonplace. And I watch a lot of YouTube videos on sheep farming because we're interested in sheep farming, looking for tips, because there's always something you can learn from someone else. And I get the impression from a lot of the videos that it's posted as oh yeah, this happens, I hate it when this happens, move on, get going. And that part's true to a point. But when it happens over and over and over and over again, you really got to look at your sheep farming practices, because disasters are supposed to be a rare event, something that happens due to adverse conditions, weather conditions, I don't know what else, like entrapments and stuff. But it should never ever be the norm where you're like, oh well, so sad. But that's farming. You got livestock, you got dead stock. Because we are not faking the disasters here. And disasters happen. Last year, it seemed like our disasters happened in threes. So far, we haven't had the disasters happen in threes this year. It's been really, really good. Now, we've had a little bit of warmer weather, which may help. We lamb indoors, but with curtains like this, so it's as fresh as outdoors. In inclement weather, our lambs don't have to overcome the odds of nature, and nature is harsh. People think pasture farming is natural and the way to go, but if you're farming, these are not wild animals, and every lamb you lose, if you only want to look at the profit side, not the ethical side, you're losing approximately $300 or more per lamb. So that's all the work you've put into them and everything. So, like, if I were a pasture farmer, whether I was in the UK or in Canada, I would have somewhere lean-to one of these coveralls with the ends cut off if you really don't want them indoors, where if a hurricane is going through or a terrible snowstorm's coming through and you have no barn space or you don't even have a barn, that the sheep can run in and get shelter, and the chances for them surviving and for you retaining your profitability is still there. These coveralls are not expensive, relatively speaking. We put these coveralls up, and within 1 year of lamb sales, we paid each one off. I think that's an extremely good investment. And mothers going down with milk fever and stuff, having 4 lambs and all of them are dead, or all but one is dead, or she's got no milk, so they're all bottle babies. There is zero profit in that. Zero. Not only that, your mom's going to die, and even if she doesn't, say she had all 3 or 4 live lambs and she nursed 2 and you got 2 on a bottle feeder, we always say for every bottle baby, that's kind of a break even. So I don't know, and I don't like to judge, but I find it hurts my sense of ethics when I see sheep having quads and dying and the lambs being poor and people cedering those animals, because some breeds have a lot of lambs naturally. But if you cedar them back to back to back to back every year, they're eventually going to go down. When a mom goes down with multiple lambs with milk fever, it's because she's got so many lambs in her belly that she can't eat anymore. And so now her body is eating herself to maintain her lambs and herself, and that doesn't benefit anyone. Usually you will end up losing the some lambs, and you will probably end up losing the ewe. And we used to have Ritos too. They're one of the multiple breeders in Ontario. And when we lambed them out of season, most of them had twins, a few singles and a few triplets, but we never had sheep with any issues. And then someone bought some those ewes from us and cedered them, and we're getting 7 lambs off them. And I guess my point is that if you have an out-of-season breeder and you're breeding them back-to-back, like 3 times in 2 years, if you want your sheep to have more longevity and less health issues, why not stop cedering them. So when they're in season, they're going to give you more lambs because that breed naturally gives you more lambs. And out of season, they're going to give you less lambs. And so you're going to say, well, that's less profitable. Why would I do that? Well, it's not less profitable if your sheep are alive, because dead sheep are not profitable sheep. And it just seems cruel to me. So anyway, I just wanted to say that I do think people think we're fudging it, but we're not. We're here 24/7 and it's just two of us. I wish we had help. You can't get help here, not qualified help, not anything. It's way too expensive to hire people. In the UK, it's wonderful because so many people have sheep that your neighbors will often drop by just to help because they're bored and they know about sheep. I think that's awesome. That's the way to do it. But in Canada, when the closest kids live half an hour away and they have no skills whatsoever, they want to drive a tractor, it's no help to us when we have to pay them $20 an hour and they just don't want to do it anyway. So the point is, you get into something what you put out, and if you are having an issue in your flock with deaths and stuff, there's always an answer. I mean, last year we had a really bad year with listeriosis because we got some mold on some hay and we lost quite a lot of sheep. Terrible, terrible, terrible. But we did research. We looked into it. We totally changed how we wrapped our hay and stuff. And this year, no losses. None. So if you are having an issue, there is always a solution. Always, always, always a solution. And solutions are profitable. They're not a mean thing. It's not me being mean to other people. But I just feel it's devastating to watch some of these other YouTube videos because, I mean, we come in here and when we have a sheep down like this one, we're actually depressed. Like, it's like, what could we have done? How did we miss her? Why didn't we get her sooner? And there are times when you just can't keep up with everything. But we're always trying to find solutions when things do happen. And I just want people to know that it is not normal to always have disasters. And it's not the poor farmer. Like, poor farmer is an accident. Some disasters happen that's totally beyond their control. And those things happen as well. But when it happens time after time after time, you gotta really, really think about fixing it. Because I don't know anything that you can't solve. So, I guess I'm just venting on this because actually we're slowing down on watching some of the YouTube channels because it's depressing. It's depressing to watch, and if I were the farmer, I'd be not wanting even to do it anymore. It's so depressing. Like, the joy in sheep farming is watching your lambs grow and thrive and everyone looking healthy and eating and it's very, very satisfying. And the bad days are very depressing, but I don't know. We don't have very many losses at all. It's rare. And I think for most farmers, it is rare. So you get a lot of views for disasters on YouTube. And I think city people don't realize that it's not normal. And I just wanted to get it across that having so many disasters on your sheep farm is not normal. As I peek over into the next pen here, here's Cupcake laying down. And the lambs are all in the creep feeder. And you can see Mooney there. There, she just came out of the creep feeder. Mooney lost a lot of weight. Mooney got bloated a little while ago, and just had a distended belly and stuff and wasn't eating well and has lost a lot of weight. But she's eating fine now again, and she'll gain that weight back. I don't know what it was. She was blocked up or had a little indigestion. I don't know. But she's looking good now. Hi, Cupcake. I don't know if those are her 2 lambs in the creep area there. I got 22 bottle babies that follow me around. I've just come across the pen here, and they follow me around like I'm mom. Yeah, and this is an issue too. Like the bottle babies, that's our problem, because I don't pull the lambs off, so I'm topping everyone that I think needs a little extra, including brothers and sisters, where it would be more economical to pull just 1 or 2 off, depending what the issue was. But I leave them all on, so that's a self-inflicted thing. And I know I could do better on that, but I don't really want to. Like, as much as I complain about all the bottle babies, well, we've told you, we don't have the facilities here for having an independent area for bottle babies. If we were younger, I think we would definitely put up a small building for bottle babies and have a milk machine. It's probably the smarter solution when you have a lot of sheep like this. But we're not going to be in this for much longer. Like, we're retirement age, and it's not practical for us now to be putting up that kind of infrastructure. So we're going to suck it up. But I know that, and I'm not harming my sheep. I'm helping my sheep. So, hi, you guys. You all look so lovely. Oh my goodness. And on another topic, Arnie mentioned that you'll never find an empty trough at our place, and that's true. And he mentioned that nutritionists with cows will tell you never to have an empty manger, because these cows are producing a lot of milk, and to produce milk you have to be eating and chewing your cud all the time. And the sheep are the same. So these sheep in here are all lactating. They've got lambs on them. And these lambs here are wanting to grow. And these are ruminants. Ruminant animals have 4 stomachs. They chew their cuds. Chewing their cuds digests the food. It makes their rumens function correctly. And it produces milk. They're called grazers. And a grazer, like the pasture guys who have sheep outside year-round, they always have food in front of them because the grass is always there. And if the grass is played out, they will supplement them with food, because sheep need to eat all the time. They need to be able to graze. So it's like when you're on a diet. Some diets will tell you that you should be grazing little bits all the time. That's the idea with sheep. We're obviously not ruminants, so there are various theories on losing weight and eating food. But with ruminants, grazers, they need to be eating all the time so that they can lay down, chew their cud, and go back to eating again. It's the way they're designed by nature. That's how they're built. And that's also something you should watch for when you see people's sheep going down at lambing time. As you're looking at the sheep and the farm, take a look in the feed trough as they're walking by. Is it empty? If it's empty, probably the sheep is not doing too well, especially if she's got a whole bunch of lambs inside her, because the ones carrying multiples need to be grazing more often, because they've got so many lambs inside them that are pushing on their stomachs, they can't eat a lot of volume all at once. Like if they're fed twice a day, it's not enough because they can only eat a few bites before they're full. There's no more room in their stomach because of the lambs pushing against it. That's again why you want a high capacity ewe. We always talk about that. One with a massive torso that can hold those lambs and hold the food. But nevertheless, if you're carrying triplets, even twins, quads, all the more reason that your feed trough should be filled up all the time, all the time, all the time. Do not have empty feed troughs. And I challenge you guys to watch people's feed troughs when they go by. Sheep that are going down with milk fever are probably have no feed in the trough. They cannot eat enough food to keep themselves and their lambs going. But if they could nibble all day long, they'd probably do a lot better. Anyway, I hope that didn't come across too judgmental. I didn't want it to come across that way, but I did want it to come across that things aren't always that bad on a sheep farm. Things can go wrong, but it should never ever be the norm. So, thanks for joining us. Please be sure to join us again Monday through Fridays and shorts on weekends. Bye for now.